welcome to another video on the Philosophical Weightlifting YouTube channel. This is kind of a follow-up in some respect to a video that I recorded with Sean Waxman, where we detailed the training of an intermediate level weightlifter. I think this video is going to be different enough that it's going to warrant a rewatching of the video with Sean and then a watching of this video, because we're going to cover programming for a weightlifter, but this time with quite a different spin. So whereas Sean and I, we were recording on a Google spreadsheet, Sergei has been gracious enough to build out a pretty elaborate program and a pretty well-designed program that we're going to look over, we're going to talk through, and then we're going to detail the ways that he would, in the obviously the business he works with, the programs, all of the programs they write, how they would write them, what goes into it. That way, one, you know what you're getting when you buy it and you're running the program, the amount of thought and detail that goes into it. But also, if you want to write a similar program and you've read some of the literature, you've trained and you've ran some of the programs online, and you're wanting to either sharpen your skills or be able to write programs for other people or even for yourself, you'll be able to do that. So hopefully this will act as a resource that you can revisit from time to time, almost like Bob Takano's books, almost like all of the other books that exist. And it's just another tool in the tool belt, so to speak. So without going on in the intro, Sergei, thanks for joining me. And the first thing we actually noticed is that we're both matching with our Milwaukee barbell gear. And we didn't plan this out. It just happens to be, great stuff.
This is the truth. Didn't plan.
So Sergei, maybe you can give us an update on how you've been, what you've been up to. I know it's been a crazy few months for you.
So last month, first of all, people, hi. Thank you for invitation, and thank you for comparing with the Bob Takano's book and other authors. It's a big honor. The last 2 months were kind of interesting because finally I went again to the World Weightlifting Championship when I saw a lot of great athletes and lifts live, and finally met our friend Seb Ostrovich, because before I thought this is only a holographic picture, that he didn't exist only in YouTube, but he is real. And he told me a lot of nice stories, and we had a great time. By the way, we spoke with a lot of guys, even here in Ukraine, who had doubts to go or not to go to Uzbekistan, because they didn't understand for sure, will this competition be good? How is Tashkent look like? Will it be safe? Will it be interesting? But for all people who decided not to go, I will say that in my life, this was the coolest event I ever attended at the Worlds, because I saw the heaviest lift with my eyes, like, I don't know, 10 meters in front of me. Lasha did snatch with 4 reds, and I punched Steve Galwan with my elbow, and I said, I can't believe that I'm so happy can stand nearby with you and see that shit. It was like impossible. So the last 2 months were really incredible, and if we will have time to discuss this, I also will be glad to share any information.
Yeah, I guess before we get into kind of the topic of the video and the actual programming itself, I would like you to maybe you talked about watching Lasha snatch 225, but what were some of the highlights for the trip for you? You know, obviously meeting Seb was #1, watching Lasha snatch 225 was #2, but what were some things that stick out that you thought were some of the best performances or best parts of the World Championship?
I would like to outline that no matter what's going on, weightlifting is developing as a sport. I would like to say that I see the new coaches, younger coaches that are working and engaging into. It's cool stuff. I believe that dashboard of leaders are changing, and we see new countries for example, USA weightlifting. So with all respect and love, and this is true to American athletes, I will tell you that from the Eastern region, before 2010, when people say like American weightlifters, everybody like, okay, they are trying, okay. But now it's a very strong, nice, interesting team with coaches which work from all from open heart, with the nice athletes which have very interesting stories. Because when we took interview with Mary Rogers and Meredith, one thing that amazed me very much, they both became on the top training online. And now it sounds like crazy, because especially in the Soviet school, if you want to lift, you must live forever only in the training camp, all team. And Meredith spent all preparation training online. She saw her coach once in a 3-4 weeks live. Same like girl from Canada who won Olympics. All preparation to. So now it's not. It doesn't sound now fantastic. It sounds like reality that it can be, and people can lift heavy on real top, training on a distance with her coach. So it depends only on your motivation and your skills and how hard you work.
Yeah, I think, well, what better way to have you introduce a program that we can talk through, that people, if, you know, like I said, if they want to take the ideas and apply them, or if they want to, you know, purchase a similar program, they can do something similar. So you can essentially, you know, get one of these programs and then follow it to some degree at home, in your local club, in your garage, and rest well knowing that it's, you know, well designed and going to give you the best chance at succeeding in weightlifting. So Sergei, maybe you can share the program with us, and then we can start talking through it.
Yes, let's do this. So before I will open my screens, I will share with you my quote of my coach, that he always say that any training program, it's not a dogma. You know what is dogma, yes?
Yep.
It's just a manual, and this is the direction you follow. Because when we do design of general programming, in our mind, we imagine like average kind of good looking athletes without major issues. He is quite harmonical, and he is step by step going up. And first of all, we need to understand that it's mostly impossible to find such a person, because every athlete has his own issues. So everything that I will share, it's not the best and the only decision. It's the things that how we see the training program with Alexei Tarakti, because we did it together by sharing our ideas. A lot of disputes, sometimes even like I said, I will not write this shit, and he said, come on, and then we found something in average. So we communicate sometimes kind of hard to make the best decision, thinking about athletes, how to clarify the task better. So the program that I would like to discuss today is the competition male training program. It consists of 12 weeks, and it has 3 connected cycles. Depending on the literature that you study, you can call these cycles with a different name. I called it by Zatsiorsky, like general preparatory cycle, then special preparatory cycle, and competition cycles. Some people called it basic. In America, you called it general, then transmutation, yes, or something like
accumulation,
this.
transmutation,
and then competition cycle. But
realization,
anyway, realization, exactly. So depends on the school, the name can be different, but anyway, the system and theory of adaptation by Hans Selye, he said that we need to have at least 3 weeks, from 3 to 5 weeks of kind of similar type of work with the variation inside, to make our body change depending on the goals. And the same idea is in this program. So first of all, I would like to share your general numbers, and I want you to think about this just like about numbers, not like the truth and the only truth. It's is the vision. So blah, blah, blah.
There we go.
Yeah, here we go. A lot of complicated stuff. Here we go. So I will zoom. You see, yes?
Yep, that looks perfect.
Yeah. So here, I think for most people, understandable what is here. We have 12 weeks. We have numbers of lifts for every week, and we have relative intensity for this cycle. This is a very simple numbers, and first I will speak about them, and then probably I show you the pictures. So I would say that during the general preparation and special preparation cycle, we usually use something around from 1,000 to 1,200 reps if we calculate this load from 50% and more, because it's a very common question from what percentage we'll calculate. Usually in national teams from Soviet schools, we have calculation from 70%, and we have reports of load from 70%. And this is, we see that picture in professional weightlifters, because professional weightlifters mostly familiar with the proper warm-up on the lower percentage. The thing that we can met in the amateur weightlifting, when people came to the gym, they take a bar, and if they see in the plan that first set is on 75%, after the bar, the next weight will be 75%. This is the problem, and I cry with the blood from my eyes. But that is why when we draw the program, when we design the program, we usually pay attention that, guys, please 50%, please 60%. That is why I pay attention to that these numbers. So for example, in this cycle, it will be something around 100, I'm sorry, like this. 1,000, almost 200 reps. This is counted from 50%. Here is the same, like almost 1,200. And in the competition cycle, the general volume will be about 30% less. 30% less, and this is the job that we can do to bring the body to the super compensation phase.
And can I jump in and ask you a question? So I know that, and you even mentioned it, different schools will calculate reps from different percentages and up. So it's my understanding that there have been schools that will, and I think Puros Demas might have even said this, but from 80% and up, those are the reps that matter to him or the school he came from. I know Greg Everett from Catalyst, 70% and up is what he counts. Spencer Arnold, and sorry, I'm just using American coaches, but these are the ones that
I know all of them.
Yeah,
I know all of them.
And so Spencer, 60% and up, and then you say 50% and up, and you gave a reason for it. Is there any bigger difference besides the warm-up that we would see if we're calculating from, say, 50%, 60%, 70%, or 80%? Is there a way you would kind of direct people just to at least get started?
So in my mind, lifts that build our shape, build our result, of course, start after 70% and up. But lifts on the level of 50-60%, how we explain to the beginners, it's the weight when you are able actually to control, adjust, and shifts your center of the balance, feel your elbow. So it's not an empty bar, but it's already weight that kind of load all your system, but in the same time you are able to change something. So I will explain you how it works in practice. When national team train. So usually chief coach, he didn't start to look at you before you will go to 70%. And that is why he said, okay, So if training session starts at 4, 3:40 you must be in the gym. At 4 o'clock you must take the bar. At 4:25 we start to lift. We start to lift, you means you hit your first 70% set. So what happens before, it's your time to feel, to adjust that. And a lot of athletes who didn't know that, they believe that when they hear, for example, Dimas, that 70 or 80% and more means a lot. They said, I will skip all that shit, this is for losers, and I will do a real stuff. And sometimes people just don't know what is the meaning of warm up, and it means a lot, I believe.
Yeah, that's honestly the best answer I've heard, because again, you know, and this is just having spoken to other coaches who do this. Usually they say that they count those reps because that's what they've been taught, or that's what their coach did, or that's what a certain school did or does. So to hear you actually explain it like that helps me almost rethink like why I calculate the reps that I do. So I appreciate that. So thanks for that.
Also would like to, thank you. I also would like to add that when we teach coaches and when we explain that coach is the person who always must have doubts and must have think, because have to think, because when you coach and you want to develop yourself, you must always ask yourself why. And to my opinion, the worst answer, because my coach did like this, or because this school do that. Probably you have no idea why they did that,
right?
Because they believe in another God. So I think if we have a doubts, you need to ask or yourself or someone else why. Physiologically, pedagogically, logically, why? Because it's supposed to have any sense. And thank you for touching this topic, because I believe that if you want to coach, you probably need to follow any question that you don't know the answer to find it, because during the years of coaching, probably you will change your mind, but anyway, you will look for the answer. So let's go forward. So these numbers that I spoke, so as we spoke with you before, we will go from macro to micro. Micro or micro?
Micro.
So macro, it's a big, and micro?
Macro is big, micro is small.
Micro, yeah, because it's the spelling issues. So if we will look at these numbers on the two diagrams, I spread it, we can see that if we speak about so blue is volume, red is intensity. We can see that from the week 1 to week 4, by the very strange accident, volume is going down. And I will explain why it makes sense. First, the first and quick answer, because intensity go up. And because here we actually start with the kind of one of the highest volumes of all the training cycle. So you can see that one more high volume we will meet at the week 5, and then on the week 7. So, and I would say that we give here a lot of reps and exercises with the kind of low intensity, just to do I would say pressure on total body muscle system to engage the system in the high volume work. But in the same time, if we speak that this is a general preparation cycle and we just prepare our body for actually stressing work, here we do 1,200 reps, but in the same time the volume go down. So week 4 actually will be recovery, because after this people will start to suffer. And that is why if we will combine these two lines, blue and red, we will see this picture, how it looks like in instruction. So our general preparation cycle look like this. I would say that strategies can be very different, but this is how we decided to start our general preparation cycle. And I will explain to you also why we did this. It's not my silly imagination. This is from Medvedev book. You can see this, yes? So I will give you this slide from my presentation about this Soviet methodology, because very often people can ask why volume goes this way. So from the from the 80th, it was a mathematically proven numbers that gives the best distribution of volume that help people to adapt. And this is these four numbers that in total will give you 100% for a month volume. So 35, 28, 22, and 15. So I would say that 35, it's a big volume, 28, it's a bigger than average, 22 average, and 15 slow. And there is a 6 type of variation of the load that you can use, and you will be mathematically right when you will combine these loads, no matter what amount of reps you decided to use, like 800, 1000, 2000. And we can see that there is a 6 main strategies. When volume go down, volume go up, peaking on the second week, on third week, or it will go like this with the 2 different variation. You see this, yes?
Yep.
So 6 option. And regarding to this law, the whole training program was built. So on the week, on the cycle number 1, from week 1 to 4, you saw this line when the volume went down, and that is why we had a chance to move the intensity up. If we will see, so we will do a short break. Josh, is it looks good? Everything's fine?
Yeah.
I mean, how? Don't hesitate to break me.
Okay. Yeah, no, everything's great. I'm learning a lot, actually.
And I will open, for example, actual week number 2 from the training program, and we will take a look on it. So first of all, I believe that from week 1 to week 4, when it's general preparation cycle, we need to have not only weightlifting training, but also a kind of big volume of GPP, because once again, from the book of physiology, we can understand that during this 3, 4, 5 weeks, depending on our timing, we need to pay attention to our small muscles, ligaments, stabilizers, and so on and so on. And all type of prehab that we're able to do, it's better to do in this period and not when we will have 90% lifts, because during that period everything will hurt anyway. So just to pay your attention to that, during this period we have kind of big special warm-up when we pay attention to Superman variation, when we pay attention to the variation of planks, variation of jumps, and a lot of PVC drills work. And I would like to pay your attention to this, because I understand that most of athletes, especially when they became like advanced level, they became too lazy for do this silly and useless shit. But the problem is that when you are from 19 to 23, or 22, you feel yourself like a superhero, and it seems to you that you can do everything and that it will last forever. But as soon as you became like older, from 23 and older, and it's real age for real kilos, a lot of athletes, they just quit because they have too many injuries. And for coaches, it's very important to explain for the kids in the age of 15, 16, 17, that if you will do now this light style, easy technical and coordinational work, probably you'll stay alive after. So just a funny example. Recently, I spent some time with my coach, and he trained junior and under 23 national team. And he asked me, like, can you help me to do some good GPP work that will be useful for weightlifters? I said, easy. Take a 2 kilo plate, like 2 kilo, and can you show me one leg Romanian deadlift, not Romanian deadlift, one leg muscle snatch. So just touch the floor with the plate and full extension with the straight arms. Like 0 athletes will be able to perform it for 8 reps. I said, are you like kidding me? Because half of them just fall out, and half of them said that glute hurt so much that someone put a needle inside. And they said, you asked me how you want to protect your hamstrings and lower back.
Right.
This is it.
Right.
This is like the most useful exercise. And he said, okay, we saw that Chinese doing handstand push-up, and 2 athletes hold them and they do this. And we will do this now. I said, they do it because they did gymnastics and they can hold this position. Because when our guys started to do this, they're absolute like this. And he said, I heard that this is for shoulder protection. In this technique, it will not work. So my advice during week number 1 to 4, if your preparation lasts over 10 weeks, pay attention a lot to prehab everything that you can prehab and all your weaknesses. This is the time when you can work on that. And if you will take a look attentively at this training days, you will see that most of exercise here are complex. So something plus something. You can see that there is no intensity over even 80%. And you can see that most exercises, I would say, you perform it from inconvenient or unusual positions. And this is the general idea, my opinion, this is general idea of the general preparation cycle, when you have to put your athlete to the inconvenient position just to help his coordination and his muscle to start adapt, to make them stressed, but not because of weight, not because of density, but of position. And I would outline once again that this is not the final decision. If you understand that for your athlete there is a problem of holding angle, probably you shouldn't do it from the block, but you should do it from the hang and with impact on the eccentric work. Because even during this world, I said this story to Seb. I had a chance to take a first interview to the Ruslan Nurudinov. And as far as we are friends, I said, what the fuck with your snatch again? And he said, like, it was right after drug testing procedure. And he said, I want to kill myself. I don't know what's going on because I put so many effort on fixing all my issues, and on the platform, all my issues came back. And no matter that he is like world record holder, Olympic champion, so it's for everybody. You should know that even top athletes, they have issues and they regret so much about them and they work, but sometimes it's just difficult. So idea.
Well, I do have a question, and that was a great story, by the way. And I think stuff like that allows people to feel okay when they don't do well at a competition, because, you know, and I've seen this plenty of times. Someone has a great preparation, they look awesome going into it, they go out for their opener and suddenly it's like a completely different lifter is out there moving the barbell, and it kind of gets in their head a little bit, and it's hard to come back from. And hearing Ruslan talk about that, I think that'll help soften the blow a little bit. But as far as exercises that you think help the lifter figure the movement out or the technique out, are there certain variations that you think, so say someone wants to write this program and they're working on some of the aspects of the technique, are there certain exercises that help people produce the correct technique without needing a ton of coaching? So for example, sometimes you'll see a lot of people use like a no contact muscle snatch that works certain aspects of the pull, specifically the second pull that people might struggle with. Are there other variations that tend to help people correct problems without like a ton of coaching or hands-on work, given that, you know, sometimes we'll have, like you mentioned with Maddie or Meredith, them training entirely online and then having to kind of figure things out for themselves a little bit?
So I would share my point of view. So once again, let's imagine kind of ideal athlete in the vacuum. And our goal is to build the flow, how he will build his shape. So I believe that easier for body when we speak about the clean and snatch is to build the shape from top to bottom. So for example, in most schools, when you start the preparation, and you can see this even in this program, you mostly start to work with the hang position because amplitude is shorter. It's very common to work from hang to the, for example, power snatch, because again, here you develop position during the eccentric work, how to build correct angles in the power position. When you do power snatch, in the same time, you build the habit to do full extension. So this is what we should keep in our mind. So in the same, if we speak about the dynamic and explosive exercises, in the same time, when we speak about strength accessory exercises, we should follow, on my opinion, two aspects. First is the right positioning in angles, and the second, the same important, is strength. If our goal is to work with the bigger weights, it's logically to work with the shorter amplitude, but with the bigger weights. I just give you the general approach. But in the same time, if our goal to focus more on the correct movement, probably you need to do lower weights. But in the same time, if you want to increase intensity or time under tension, probably you can engage some position in the static mode, means poses in the middle, beginning, end, or your weak parts. Because the thing that I was, so do you know that Erzhas Baltaev now is the chief coach of Ukraine, the coach of Ilya Ilyin?
Oh yeah,
so
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so he signed the contract in the December. So one of the exercises that national team started to do, they started to do now, when it's preparation cycle, a lot of front and back squats with the poses, with the slow down and fast up. And also they started to do a back squat and front squat in the same time. So you do back squat for triple, put the bar on the rack, re-rack it, and front squat. So, and when you put, for example, 75% of your front squat, and you need to do 3+3 back and front, it's killing people. It's like killing. Because first, when you take the training plan, it looks like a stupid and very easy stuff. When you start to do this, you're dead. So, and so just to conclude the approach to the week 1 to 4, as I said, complex exercises, and finishing answering your question, my opinion, to build the correct movement, starting from the shorter amplitude, making sure that you are comfortable with this amplitude, you understand that you are doing everything well, and then increasing amplitude. And the idea about no feet or no power position, snatch or clean, it's also an idea of making exercise like more simple and more strength, and then engage in explosive elements. So this is not actually from weightlifting, that's from pedagogy. Because pedagogical approach of teaching, you have standard mode of teaching, teaching with more easy environment, and teaching with more difficult environment. And you have these 3 methods, and it's only in your mind how to combine, depending on the issues or peculiarities of your athlete.
Yeah, perfect. And then you kind of mentioned at the start of this that the volume is going to actually go down and the intensity is going to go up. So
Yes.
week 4 is going to be the heaviest week, but also the lowest volume week. Is that correct?
Yeah. Now you can see the numbers and you will understand for yourself what's going on. So I would say that everything that above 320 lifts, it's difficult for people, no matter what intensity it's going on. And we can see that intensity from week 1 to week 4 is going up, then it will drop on the week 5, and volume will drop on the week 4. So once again, this is the theory, and we don't know how the whole team will eat this volume, but in the I believe in numbers, and I believe that they works. And when I plan, I try to recalculate the distribution between intensity and the volume, so it can help people to recover but not to die. But this is the picture that we can see here. So from intensity go up, volume go down, and then from week 5 we start a real training here and here.
Then with the volume, I guess before we kind of move on, the last question I would have is what exactly goes into the volume in terms of the reps? Like what exercises?
Very nice question. So let's drop here. I think this this scale will be informative to you. So what we calculate in the actual like main volume, it's all snatch exercises with power position, all clean exercises with power position. We calculate separately clean and jerk, all pulls and all squats. So once again, depending on school, some schools calculate, some school doesn't calculate. We didn't put in the calculation everything that without power position and everything that below 70%. For example, push press, it's exercise without jumping or explosive stuff. But if it's go above the 70%, we need to put it somewhere just to make sure that you calculate the slot. And in this case, it will go to the snatch exercises. And for example, how the most boring calculation looks like. So I would say we saw the week 2. So the week 2 looks like this. We have a lot of work in the intensity zones for athletes like 50, 60. You can see it's like almost 60% of everything that happens. So snatch, clean, jerk, and pulls and squats are in a little bit heavier intensity zones. And then I usually calculate all numbers together, and then I calculate the relation between the groups of exercises and then relative intensity. So yeah, so it's kind of boring if you are not professional, but I just give I will try to give picture like real picture how we build this, because it's for me personally, for me, designing training program, it's not like, okay, today it will be 3 sets of 6 reps. It doesn't work like this. I usually try to, so I have my understanding or imagination what will be, but then I calculate, recalculate, because I understand that these numbers, it's my responsibility for the, not only for result, but the human health as well.
Yeah, and just to kind of touch on that point, I said the same thing when Sean did the video with me. Is every time I watch a coach go through their process, I always realize that I have something that I can work on, something that I can improve on, because like I calculate a good bit of stuff. I kind of try to plan it out, but I've never set up a table like this and been able to track things over zones and then how the percentages play into that. So I guess thank you for showing me what I could work on and improve on. So this is like a different dynamic of it.
To move forward, one more very important numbers that I believe are useful for coaches. It's percentage and relation of volume in the group of exercises that are actually give us result. And there are two main group. It's a group of competitive exercises, that all snatching exercises, all cleaning, jerking, and clean and jerk. And another group, it's pulls and squats. And simple understanding how we supposed to distribute volume between these two groups, it's that ideally snatch plus clean plus jerk supposed to count as a 50%. And pulls plus squats also supposed to count also 50%. I will show you like a good from presentation, a good, let me find, where is it? Yes, okay, like this. So this is the volume distribution once again by book and by Medvedev. And I always teach my colleagues and share experience that I believe that when we calculate a week, a month, and the cycle, in the end of the calculation, we're supposed to meet the picture like this. And why I explain this? Because very often, even today, I got a message in Instagram from the guy that from United States, like, please, can you take a look at my training week? I need your advice. I said, yes, of course. And after he sent me his paper, in 2 minutes, he texted me again that, so I said, I am sorry, I'm not able. I'm not this guy. I'm not able. I'm not able to take a look and said that you are perfect or you are ugly. I need to calculate, and I believe that by the end of our designing or our training structure should look like this. So you can see that snatch and clean and jerk supposed to have about 50% plus minus 5. And snatch pulls also need to have this. And the only logic that we should follow, that when we have preparative cycles, this could be a bit more and this could be a bit less. And when we go to competitive period, this supposed to be less and this supposed to be more. And this is just for understanding how it lives. But anyway, it's supposed to be somewhere here, because when I can see someone training program and I calculate and I can see that snatch 7%, clean and jerk 11%, but we have 40% of clean pull, 20% of snatch pull, and the same amount of squat, I said, you are doing good weightlifting, but actually it's powerlifting weightlifting. And to realize this, you need to calculate. And then when we go back to the actual numbers of to the training program that we are speaking about, when we can see that here, when we have general preparation cycle, we have a little bit above the 20% for snatch and clean and jerk. For clean and jerk, it will be more because it's 2 exercises. When we have from week 5 to week 8, we have more pulls and more squats. And finally, when we go to the competition stage, you can see almost 30% for snatch, a little bit over 30 clean and jerk, and pulls we cut, and squats, it remains almost the same. And this is the same in the graph.
I do have two. So I have 2 questions.
Okay.
One would be, the first question would be, why the focus on the snatch, clean and jerk, the first block or cycle, and then you said that you said that the focus changes from block to block, and that in the middle you do just trying to think of my question.
Okay, I understand your
because
question.
Generally it would be like more squats, more pulls, about an equal amount, and then it would be more snatch, clean and jerk, less squats, less pulls, and it would generally have more strength, kind of like a moderate amount, and then less strength. And this is just slightly different from what I'm used to seeing.
Okay, so I will explain. So first of all, let's take a look on cycling like this, that this is preparation, this is competition. So you're supposed to see here, not 3 blocks, you're supposed to see here 2 blocks. Gotcha. Preparation, competition. Okay, number 1. So number 2, if we will say that this is the preparation stuff, inside of this preparation block, we have 2 peculiarities. Here, we work with the less intensity, but with more complex exercises. And here the difficulty, because most exercises are complex, and this volume actually is way bigger than this. And so here, more complex poses, eccentric, so where people suffer because of sick exercises. And here people suffer because the same amount of volume, but more intensity. So this is the difference. And you mentioned that in my slide, it was Neo, yes, from Matrix.
Yeah.
So I believe that for us, for coaches, we're supposed to see not just the numbers as a digit. We're supposed to see some meaning in these numbers. Right. That is why I'm trying to explain that here we try to adapt and stress body with the different instruments. And here, as you say in American methodology, here is a realization. So this is how I see.
Okay. And then kind of the idea is that you're providing stress, and then you're showcasing what you've developed. Have you noticed, because the squats stay relatively consistent over time, and you know, and the pulls really are the only thing that change during that competition block. Is there a reason why the percentage of the squats tend to stay relatively the same? Is it an exercise that when you remove too much volume, and you know, a caveat for everyone watching, this is just one program, so the questions might not make a lot of sense, you know, because if we saw 100 programs, things might look different. But my question for this one is, like, why would the squats stay relatively similar across time, at least for the volume distribution?
The answer is like this. So here you can see the percentage, and when we speak in percentages, it's always relative numbers. But when we train and we live on the earth with the gravity, we calculate everything in kilos and in reps. And now let's keep in mind that here is minus 30% of load. So the relation between this load inside of competition cycle will be almost the same, because we need to keep toned muscle and keep intensity. But it's very good that you said that, because now when we will open, for example, preparation cycle 2, and we will see that total amount of squats. Did you see this? Yes.
Yeah.
So total amount of squats in the week 5 to week 8 was 273 reps. And in the competition week, amount of squats was 187. So it was a good question, because people will mention that it's almost the same in percentage, but in lifts, again, it's over 30% less of reps and repetition and sets.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. And then I guess, so we looked at like a general preparation week, and then maybe we could look at a special preparation week, and then move into the competition.
Let's go. So let's open for something like week number 6 or 7. Let's go for week number 7. Let me check what it was by numbers. Yeah, it's kind of big week.
That's a big week.
Yeah, it's a big week, and and there is some and after this we will speak about the distribution of load inside the week. Week from special preparation stage. What is the peculiarity of this period in general? So the idea of special preparation stage, when we work with the exercise, with the dynamic exercise, more or less dissimilar with the structure of competitive exercises. And here during the training week, you can see snatch from blocks. Usually when I say in my mind snatch from blocks, it's a blocks below the knees. We can see here clean, we can see here snatch, we can see clean and jerk, and we can see the power snatch. And most pulls are traditional, and squats as well. So there is no posing squats, there is no slow or narrow feet or anything else. So during this period, people mostly suffer you understand what I'm saying. Mostly people suffer because of kind of high intensity and with the big volume of work, when your goal here is just to do kind of monotonic but very difficult work. So I remember from my career, and when we stayed at this period of training, coach always told me that even when you go to the gym and you already came to the gym and you're already tired, he said, you just need to be patient to live to the end of this day, no matter what's going on. So you shouldn't look for the passion, look for the feeling yourself great, or feeling yourself fast or good in technique. You just need to do your work. And actually, this is the good example of what Dimas said, that when you work from 80% and more, you actually shouldn't think about you are not able, to my opinion, to think a lot about the quality. You just need to do your job. Sometimes there are good sets, sometimes there are bad sets, and when you are tired, when you are under load, and coach said, okay, 85%, 3 sets of 2, you understand that you need to eat this load, and after the tapering, maybe your shape will be good. And this is the period when you should be mentally ready to be always, let's say the truth, in pain, tired, and do your job. And here, especially in this program, you can see this green spots. In this program, it means that this is the optional load, and it happens kind of often with the top athletes, when coach said, okay, in my planning, I see today something in between 87 to 92%. So I see this. And I see ideal plan 5 sets, but you must do at least 2. And then you have these borders, and you understand that you will be the best if you will perform everything, but at least you need to do your minimum. And I believe that even when we have a general plan, we're supposed to give athletes an option, because athletes need to understand that they need to rely on their feeling. And there is a minimum of work that they must do, but optimum of work they need to do only if they feel optimal.
Yeah, no, that makes sense entirely. And one question I would have, this is more of a broad question, and maybe you could just provide a reference or a few references for it. But so you talked about how you calculate the total number of reps, the percentage of that reps per week. But as far as distribution over the percentages, you say in a training plan, how are you saying, or where are you getting the information that says you should have this much work at 70%, this much work at 80%, this much work at 90%? Like, how are you, what do you use as a reference to calculate that stuff? So when it comes out, you have say a bunch of sets at 80%, and then you have one set at 85, one set at 90. So why, why that decision?
The answer is like this. I have the answer. I'm not sure if you will be satisfied with this answer, but I have it. And once again, it's not the things that I found. It's the science, and like this.
Okay.
So everything again goes from math, and probably you heard from math that there is a law of normal distribution of everything on Earth, and it works again in sports science as well. So Zatsiorsky made this table. It's written in Russian because it's by Zatsiorsky, but anyway, you can guess what's written here. So below we have intensity zones. It's from track and field approach, and only in weightlifting we have intensity zone 100 plus. In track and field it doesn't exist. But what Zatsiorsky said, that all training work actually distributes as a law of normal distribution, and this is how physiology of human work, because we live on Earth and everything on Earth is math. So this is the quick answer. And probably now you will understand what will be the next. So one more important stuff that I always mention during my lectures, and we already spoke about this and about demons and so on. So in our school, our coaches always said that everything that from 70 to 90, it's a training zone. When you train your result, when you train your muscles. Everything that below is warm up, where you are able anything to set up, to change, to feel. After you did the setup, okay, let's work. And everything that above 90%, it's not about training, it's about control. I mean, testing. So control, maybe it's not the right word, but we called it control zones. So testing zones. So everything about testing, you can test your technique in a stress environment. You can test your psychology, you can test your muscle, but actually if you will test yourself too much, the only thing that you will get, or you will get a positive result about your preparedness, or will you break yourself? Because if you spend too much time in the red zone, obviously that bad things will happen. No one competes every day, but we compete in the red zone. So this is the quick answer how I would say I know how much reps I supposed to spend in the intensity zone. And then if we will go deeper in the theory and we will go further, once again, from Aleshko Science, we have the table that says how it's better to spend load in the intensity zones according to the, as I said, law of normal distribution. It looks like this. And then we can get the same information according to the weight classes, because we already know the peculiarities of physiology and gravity to the different weight classes. If you are taller and you have to lift more weight, that is why you will spend more time, because you need to lift on more distance, and that is why you spend more calories and you will tire it faster. That is why you're unable to eat such a big amount of volume. Does it make sense?
Yeah. So
again, if we will take a look at this table, we will see that, and we will, for example, take a look at the intensity zone from 91 to 100. We can see that theoretically, lightweight guys can do in this intensity zone about 3.5 times more of volume than heavyweight guys. And if we speak about how I can start design my training program, of course, my advice, you should take a pen, paper, and start to write, like snatch 60% resets to reps. But if you take a responsibility to plan a cycle, for example, for your friend, and you love this guy and you don't want to put the flowers on his grave, probably you need, after you will design everything, to check your assumption on the tested numbers. Probably these numbers will help you to say that, okay, if his body weight 100 kilos, but you already plan 20% of all volume in the 90%, 90 and more, probably you need to cut it a little bit because you love your friend. So this will help you to check yourself. And then after, when you have experience and you understand, okay, because when we build average plan, we build it somewhere in the average. That is why we always write that keep in mind, feel yourself and cut it if you feel that it's too much. But this is the answer how I find out how many sets and reps I need to spend in this zone or in that zone, and then I distribute it between the group of exercises.
And then are you distributing it based on the size of or the amount of volume within the week? So if there's like a big chunk of volume, are you doing less, 91 to 100% lifts, or how are you kind of like plotting those in there and dictating that it's like the right time to do 90+%?
Thank you for this question. First of all, we have a goal of our preparation, lift more. Then we spread it to the cycles, and we have goal of every cycle. So question for our coaches and for our athletes who will listen to us: how we will understand what lifts we need to put more, 70%, 85 or 90, depending on the goal of this cycle. If it's general preparation cycle, I would rather add more volume for 60, 70%. But if I want to make this work more intensive, I would add time under tension. I will put it to the inconvenient position, but I will try to help him to build the muscles with the lower intensity. Then when I understand that he did his work for 3-5 weeks, then he had this period of adaptation, then I can move forward for 80% from week 5 to week 8. This is my logic.
Yeah, great answer. That's very insightful. Cool. And then we can look at, say, a competition period and look at, like, now when this stuff is all laid out and we're trying to put the best performance on the platform, what that would look like.
So let's go, for example, to the week 10. So you can see, even without understanding what's going on, that blocks look shorter. So more black space.
And
so,
maybe even before we get into the actual numbers and exercises, could you, and you've gone through many programs, you've trained a lot, you were a competitive weightlifter for a long span of time. How should someone feel as the training blocks go on? So say within this 12 weeks, there's a general, there's a special preparation, and then there's the competition preparation. Would the athlete feel different as, the training weeks start to go on? You mentioned, during this period, maybe you're a little more in pain, you're a little more beat up, but you're going to put out the best performance. Whereas maybe, when you're in the highest volume weeks, you're also going to feel pretty run down. So what's like the general kind of progression of how an athlete should feel as they're going through a program?
Thank you for this question. So I don't remember who said this, not Kelly started, but someone from this line of scientists, and he said that for professional coach, every training is assessment. So no matter what's going on, I think it's the founder of Great Institute. Okay, doesn't matter. When you coach, or when you're an athlete who has experience, you can test yourself by doing the exercises. And I believe that this is the best testing. Of course, I believe in science and in instrumental different type of testing. But going from cycle to cycle, we need to conclude what is the summary of week 1, from week 1 to week 4. And by the end of the week 4, we need to see that regarding, so let's go from the very beginning, answering this question. I believe that one of the easiest and the most informative tests when you train systematically and you train semi-professional, you mean you follow your day routine, nutrition, everything is right, is your body weight. If you do everything right and you see that your body weight stable or going up, it means that actually you at least not overtrained. If you see that you did everything well, but after the work your weight constantly going down, question for the quality of your recovery. If your meals are fine, if your sleeps are fine, and your weight is going down, it means the catabolism is ruining you. Question why? So maybe you do everything over, because if your weight is going down for a few days after stress workout, it's fine. But if you mentioned that from week to week, it's going down like 300, 400 grams, it means that you feel yourself bad, but because some people, they just can't feel it physiologically. So my answer is that anyway, doing the hard work, you should feel that your strength, technique from some certain position getting better. Because if the goal of the week 1 to 4, develop your strength endurance, by the end of the 4 week, when there is a small deload, by the beginning of the week 5, probably you should feel that you are able to perform all training and not die because you are breathing hard. Because when you start to do, for me, it's a very good test when we work with the athletes on the middle of the preparation and we started to do complexes, clean plus front squat plus to jerk, I usually test how he reacts on this load, because it's okay if he will not lift, it's fine. The question, he will not lift because he breathing too hard, he will not lift because he cannot do front squat after 2 cleans, or he cannot jerk because he is not able to endure during the deep and drive. So as a coach, you can analyze this and give a feedback. What is an issue? Strength endurance, technical preparation because of the overload of the neural system, or he's just bad in technique. And probably there is no like one strict answer how he will define this, but I believe that we do preparation to become better. And sometimes, depending on the life obstacles or anything else, we can see that, okay, during this week our athletes is worth nothing, so probably just 3 days don't go to gym. Probably he has a love story and he needs to reschedule his life a little bit. It also happens. But the thing that we need to see as a coach is that he constantly, I mean, not every day, but week by week, every 2 weeks, he's showing some kind of progress.
I think that was a fantastic answer. And I think to kind of round it out, as you said at the start of it, performance is ultimately the assessment in the guide of if it's working or not. And that's not performance like, oh, well, on a random day, I should be able to PR my snatch. It's more so, is my technique holding up at heavier weights? Am I able to handle higher rep complexes and feel like I can keep going and not feel so winded? Is it that I'm able to handle an entire training session and feel like I could do more because you call them general preparation, I would call it like a work capacity phase, but that work capacity is improved and you're able to tolerate a lot of training that you're going to use later to get better. And then to kind of finish that, I would say, you mentioned there are workouts where you need the stimulus, like you need the work, because the work ultimately is what drives the adaptation. Sometimes people won't feel great or they feel a little off, so they'll just go home and sometimes that may make sense, but ultimately, like, the work is the thing that gets you better at the work. So if you don't do the work, you can't expect to be better at it. So ultimately, the main idea is to do enough work over time to get better. If your performance is going up, you're doing enough work. If it's not, you're doing the wrong type of work or the wrong amount. So I think that was a fantastic answer, Sergei. So let's round this out and talk about how we peak the snatch in the clean and jerk.
Josh, due to the obstacle that your English is better than mine, you explained everything very good. Thank you for
Thank
help. Peaking and competition style and high intensity. I believe that when people are in love with weightlifting and it's a passion for them, and these kids finally want to lift heavy, I believe that competition period is the best period to have fun and finally to lift heavy, because I hated the week after 5 to week 8, 9 when our coach tested us and pushed us to do 6 reps max. It was killing, because he said, I believe that everyone can do 6 reps 75%, but I will be happy as soon as you will do 6 reps 85%. And he was super happy when you was able to do 6 cleans and then 1 jerk, or 1 clean and then 6 jerks 85%.
Wow.
And this stuff that we never program for normal people, because after this, so mostly after 4th rep, you are ready to give all your phones, all your money, everything. Just please let me go. But after rep number 4, actually weightlifting start, and this is the time to show how good you are.
Yeah.
So the idea, first of all, we need to understand and to repeat for athletes the idea of competition cycle. The idea of competition cycle is not to lift your best kilos during this period. The idea of this period, in my opinion, is to make sure that on the day of the platform, you will be ready to do your PRs, and you will be confident because you did a lot or enough of kind of heavy lifts during the competition period. Because for some athletes you need to try more during the training. For girls, very often you need to try more on the training program, but there are a lot of athletes that can lift kind of heavy without going to 100+% during the training, during the competition period, and they will be ready to lift PRs on the platform. So it very depends. But anyway, you can see here that there is a lot of green zones where sets are optional, and they are optional depending on how you feel. Are you ready? If you feel yourself confident. But as I said, the blocks are shorter, so just less of exercises, less. And as we spoke before, the general amount of volume is 25, 27, 30% less of reps. We almost don't have complex exercises. We almost don't have so-called weightlifting bodybuilding. And most things that we are focused on, it's the classic exercises, exercises that will help to test your physical and mental strength. And exercises almost every exercise is performed for double or single reps, because the quality of neural impulse, it's also the thing that we can train and that we should train. And if we are like 7-8 weeks away from the competition, you can allow your neural system to spread your neural possibilities to work for 3 or more reps. But when you are as close as you get to the competition, you have to teach your neural system and adapt to your neural system that you must give everything in 1 rep. And this is also a skill, because it's a different mental approach to keep in mind that I must distribute the force for more reps, or I must give everything only in this rep. And this is also a part of mental preparation when we work for singles. And actually competition cycle, it's a period when we need to train this. I'm not saying to lift go PR every session, but to work for singles, even on the lighter weights without straps, and focus to do a good one explosive rep, it's one of the most important goals over these 4 weeks.
Well, and you explaining that, the way I think about it is when you're in the like work capacity or preparation phase, it's like you're riding a bull. So you're just trying to hold on as long as you can. When you have a complex that's a pull, a snatch, an overhead squat for a triple, I'm just trying to hang on for dear life and make sure things don't fall apart. In the competition period, I'm riding a racehorse, and I know how to direct it. I know how to make it go faster. I know how to make sure that we shave off as much time as possible, and we're very deliberate about it. And that's with a lot of singles. Maybe we do some timed rest stuff just to make sure, you know, when we're competing, generally at local meets, you kind of get a spread where the lighter lifters might take more singles back to back. You kind of get a bunch of people in the middle, and then the heavier lifters are going to have to follow themselves too. So we'll do a lot of stuff on a clock, on the minute style, on the 90 seconds. But as you said, it's almost all singles, maybe some doubles, maybe like a triple at 60% if we just need a little bit of work. But it's always quality. So to kind of reiterate, it's like with those big complexes, it's just let me make it through it and let me not look too bad. And then with this stuff, it's all quality first. Feeling the movements, dialing in the technique, and allowing all of that work to express itself. But it's not like developing the work at that point. Would you say that's kind of correct?
Yeah, totally agree, strongly agree. And the idea of accessory exercises, I mean, not accessory, strength exercises, I mean, pulls and squats in this period are not for building something. It's more for toning. It's more for giving neural impulse, and you go up, done. And this is how we learn and adapt our muscle system to focus all resources to go for 1 rep max. So this is the goal. Approach when to go heavy, I mean, to try to hit your PR or to try to hit your 100%. I know that they're very different in the different schools, but the thing that I try to follow and give the general advice for average level of athlete is to try to peak with the clean and jerk up to 16-21 day, and to peak in snatch up to 7-10 days, because usually recovery for the clean and jerk is way longer. But the thing that I saw with my eyes in Tashkent now, that Lasha competed on Friday, and on Tuesday he did 200 kilos snatch no feet for doubles. Wow. But once again, let's count. We need to calculate. So 222. So it was less than 90%. It was 88%. But let's keep in mind, honestly, that 225, it's not 100% actual, because even a year ago, guys told me that he did 230 from the blocks with the straps. So when people say, oh my God, he did 200 no feet, let's keep in mind that it's 87%, 88. Right. for most of people, they will never deadlift 200. It's okay, but for Lasha, it's just a different type of numbers.
So what you're saying is that how close you are to your ceiling, like your performance ceiling, that dictates the weights. So a good example is I just had a girl in yesterday who she's transitioned from CrossFit, getting into weightlifting. We were doing some on the minute work. She looked really good. We worked up to a PR, and it was like very obviously under her limit. It moved fast. It looked like relatively good. Technique held up. So it's not her true max. It's just the most she's ever done. So there's a difference between being able to do more and then being at like a true max where, you know, your stand up out of the clean is like a 5-second rep. Your eyes are going to pop out of your head. And then to jerk it, you have to call to your God to, you know, send down special powers, basically.
I think it's a happiness for a coach to find an athlete who will be able to actually to go to his to his potential max. Right. It's a happiness to work with such a type of people, because sometimes it's a technical limit, sometimes a mental limit, and so on and so on. And sometimes it's together or strength limit. Usually, there is also a problem when people start to calculate like from blocks with the straps and so on and so on. And when you start to calculate with from the actual competitive result, percentages moves lower, you work in the more comfortable way, and this is how you build the preparation. Because very often I can hear from people, they calculate clean and jerk when they once did a jerk behind the neck from the rack, and once in their life they did a clean with the blocks from mid-thigh. And they combined it together and they said, this is my clean and jerk. I said, okay, show me this on the platform, even on video, but this will work.
Well, that's what's also difficult, you know, just for the coaches listening, that, you know, if you start working with someone and they're like, well, I haven't hit this lift in a year or 2 years, or, you know, I'm coming back from some minor injuries or tweaks, and like their max is actually so much lower than what they've done, you have to try to reestablish all of that. And again, that's where like the work capacity general preparation phase comes in.
Exactly.
You get them into weightlifting shape so they can weightlift. And luckily you have a lot of flexibility with the 60 and 70% lifts. And then once you start creeping up over time, maybe you realize, okay, we're pushing a little too hard, we'll pull back. But if you go by the numbers, it gives you more wiggle room. And then allows you to make changes instead of just saying like, well, we're going to do a 1 rep max or a 3 rep max or a 5 rep max, and that's going to tell us where we're at, because that doesn't tell you too much. So Sergei, I think this has been fantastic, and I don't know if you have anything to add. It's very informative. Again, shows me where I need to kind of work on what I'm doing, but what would be some of the thoughts you would leave people with after going through all of this?
So to conclude, my opinion and the opinion of our team, that we are lucky to live in the period of weightlifting developing, when weightlifting became not only sport of professional guys that spend time in the training camp and live as a professional athletes. We are lucky to see the people who made weightlifting as a part of fitness industry. And I'm happy about this, because I remember when 10 years ago, our old-fashioned coaches said, okay, we will do a meets, but we will invite the CrossFitters because they all are stupid. They will live with the ugly form, and they will bring a lot of people that will eat and shout. And I said, come on, this is about the competition. When you lift in the perfect form, a lot of kilos, and you do, and then with the strict face go away, it's boring to see 50 people like this. It's fine if it will be 3 of that, but it will be nice if we will see 30 other people ugly running from one corner of the platform to other. other people will do pictures and they will share. This is how soccer became popular. Everybody plays soccer in every corner of the street, and they also play ugly, but they play and they're having fun. And that is why. And that is why I love this period of time, because a lot of people start to do weightlifting or use parts of weightlifting exercises as a part of their fitness routine. And that is why my opinion and my conclusion that if we look at on the mass weightlifting from this angle of perspective, there is no sense to run for the crazy kilos. Because I remember when we started to do seminars with Alexei, and we said hello to each other and said, what is your goal? Why did you come to the seminar? He said, because I was doing CrossFit, and then after 2 shoulder surgery, I decided to find out how to lift properly. So I believe that if you're doing weightlifting for yourself, for health and for fun, there is no sense to train the way that you will kill yourself. It's okay when it hurts after the sore. It's okay if it hurts, your muscles hurts because they did a new work and you feel that your position bring your muscles or your body to a little bit different form. But my opinion, it's stupid to train for nothing and paying money for this, but by the end do a surgery on your wrist, on your elbow, and on your shoulder. So my opinion that for us as for coaches, it's weightlifting. It's the tool how to teach people to move smartly, to be stronger, to be more flexible, to be more explosive, fast, and to enjoy of lifting heavy weights. And to enjoy, first you need to learn. So this is my point of view on all this community that we have now.
Yeah, well, like you said, you kind of mentioned in the middle of the conversation a distribution for reps. And I think it's kind of there's that curve that exists for almost everything or everything, possibly
in life.
In life. And with weightlifting technique, it's the same thing. It's like the ends of the curve give a lot more meaning to the entire curve itself. So like the very bad of the technique allows you to appreciate the very best of the technique. And the very best of the technique gives you meaning when you're in the middle of the curve, because you can work towards it. You can try to refine the small details. So it's like it's the everything in between the worst and the best that gives meaning to everything in between the worst and the best. So like you mentioned, I'd rather watch someone who is snatching 25 kilos and just won't be able to ever do more than that, but they're trying their best, than everyone who looks perfect and is snatching 170 kilos, because again, like the variation is what gives richness to the rest of it. So Sergei,
I'll give you a good, very interesting statistics that we did a research about the social media that like ugly lifts brings more reviews, comments, and share than perfect heavy big lifts. And as a conclusion, it says that bad technique develops weightlifting and make it more popular than Lasha 225, because he looks like a god. But mostly the admiration of this lift will be more for people who understand.
Yep.
But if you don't understand and you see skinny guy running away with the barbell, this lift will get more share, and that's it.
And Sergey, I don't know if you remember the video of Maddie Rogers. I think she was taking a snatch off the blocks or something, and she threw the bar forward and it rolled through a glass, glass wall. Yes. I'm sure that video has so many more views than any other weightlifting video that exists. And it's not because it was a great lift. It was because she broke a huge glass wall and ended up on the floor and was just absolutely petrified by what had just happened. So I think that's a good sign. It means that if you're not a great weightlifter, you can still be Instagram famous. You still have an opportunity to do that.
And you have more opportunities to become better.
Exactly. And Sergey, so we looked at one of the programs that you helped write. If people are interested in either checking out more of the program, seeing what else you have to offer, where can we direct them?
It's a website, tarakti.com. We have a lot of stuff, and we are always open to people because we have a lot of question and every day more and more about how to lift, what to do, and we are trying to answer everyone. And I think it's one of our biggest mission to explain people what is lifting. And I and Alexei were almost always in contact. I cannot promise that I will reply instantly, but I don't have in my direct message that I don't reply. So I love a stupid question because I know that if people don't know, they want to know. And if I can help, sometimes I said I don't know, but if I can help, I will do it because I love our sport.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time and you doing this with us. I think this can act as a resource not only for, you know, the next week, month, or 6 months, but I think this can act as a resource for the next few years for people who want to revisit it, think about their programming. And the last question, and I think this is a good question for people who write programs, how long would it take you to write something like that we just went over?
So it looks, it has a few stages. So mostly I would say I would, if I would sit in the chair and I would spend for this time, probably it will took a few days, but mostly it take about few weeks because when I did this program and version 1, and then I rescheduled because we got a lot of questions, a lot of asking how it works, why, so I changed something. Mostly, first of all, I built a template in my head, and first I wrote it in the paper and I show it to Alexei. Sometimes he and we discuss all the idea. After this, as I said, I write a plan, calculate it with the zones, and the most time usually takes the calculation. Because when you work with an athlete or with the actual team, you have a, let's say, control point where you believe the team should show this or that result. And you have like a general idea of planning, and then you plan each week and you see how team react or your couple of athletes. And if I understand that they're still good, I can give more volume. But then I understand, okay, they suffer for 3 weeks. The next week should be recovering or tapering. And I play all athletes that I coach here in Ukraine. I plan week by week, but I have template in my head. But when I need to give 12 weeks, usually it takes time to calculate. Then I again show everything to Alexei, and I said that you should ask me as much question as you can. Why this? Why you put here a ladder of lifts? Why you put here a complex? Because it's the period not for complex. So he asking me a question, and sometimes it helped. And after this, we give this program. We have a international testing team, guys from Australia, from Brazil, from United States. Some of them are coaches, some of them just athletes. They don't know programming. And I give them this in Excel and I said, like, what do you think? And because we do this for people, we need to have normal people's question, because sometimes they also help us to clarify. Because something that very obvious for me, like I said, if I put power snatch 70%, 6 sets for 2 reps, I understand that I must do 3 sets for barbell, then 2 sets for 50%, and maybe 2, 3, 6 for 60%. Some people, they just do 70 after entering the gym. So mostly it can take, like my job, up to 2 weeks, and then maybe a month to design to put and check all the numbers, then to put inside of this program video links, then to do a landing page, then to do a chain of email marketing to connect everything. So mostly we produce program up to, like this commercial program, up to 2.5 months.
Wow.
From the idea that I start till the day that we release it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's intense, and I guess that just reassures people that they're getting a good product if they purchase one of the programs from you and from Tarakti. So I'll be sure to link all of that stuff down below. I'll be sure to direct people to your social media, you know, Alexi's social media, and get some traffic going your way. If people want to follow me, you can also follow the links down below to my social media and whatever else I have to offer. Sergei, once again, thanks for doing this with me. Hopefully people really appreciate it. And guys, we will catch you next time on another video on the Philosophical Weightlifting YouTube channel. Peace.
Peace and love. Thank you.